Hello class. In this set of textures I'm going to talk about how to make sort of ink effects. And I put together this thing here. It sort of uses a couple different techniques. I think they're both quick enough I can squeeze them both in one video here. One is just to make your lines, which were just drawn in CAD and imported into Illustrator, look like they were sort of hand sketched. You can see that sort of in the plans, certainly up here in the elevations. So that's one thing, pretty easy to do. And then the second thing I'm going to do is something like this black sky, which might look like a Macintosh kind of drawing, something like that. How to do that? It's not, obviously I didn't draw a lot of lines. It's just a simple effect. We can get that done really quick. So I'm going to go to my base drawings here. I'm going to actually start with this guy in this case here to do the lines, and I'm going to just make this guy a white box with sort of like a scribbly like line. I'm going to make the line thickness a little bit thicker so we can see it. And the first thing I'm going to do is to the entire path I'm going to apply the effect of zigzag under distort and transform. And this is going to make it not look. This is if you could do ink and you could draft it out, and so you might have straight lines. But if you're sort of freehanding it, this might be what might happen. So 0.04. Again, these settings are going to be different based on any number of factors that you might use. And I'll just go to smooth. Let's do preview. We can see it just if I toggle this preview, we can see that just sort of tweaks it a little bit and pulls it in. Just makes it slightly imperfect. The more you play with those numbers, the more imperfect you might make it seem. Now the other thing I'm going to do is, right now it's a perfectly clean black line, which might be perfectly fine for you. It might be exactly what you want it to look like, but sometimes line thickness changes depending on how you're holding the pen or pencil even. So I'm going to go to stroke, and I'm going to open up the stroke, and I'm going to go down to profile here, and I'm going to change the profile to this guy because I think it's a good one. And we can see what that does is it changes sort of the thickness. It gets really thin down here near the bottom and thicker near the top. And you can change this also over here at your width tool if that might be a base, but maybe this is too thin over at this one, so maybe I'll just make it thicker or thinner or whatever. That was probably too thick. Let me undo that one. I might have to actually zoom in a little bit here to get a really small change in thickness here. And remember, I have to do it on the line where it really exists in Illustrator, not where it actually becomes visible. Actually, I guess it's this one that I need to sort of change a little bit. Here we go. So I can play with those and change the things. I could change the thickness anywhere I want along this thing, but that sort of gives it the effect of not being perfectly consistent. So that's sort of how you can do line types. And then we saw on the example one I also had sort of a fill. In that case, I can turn the stroke right off, and I can set the fill to be completely black, just like this. And I'm going to just use a simple scribble on this thing, which a lot of these videos tend to have in it. And I just got to get the settings right. Again, play with it. I've already done it, so I already know what the answer is going to be, but it really depends on the drawing and the size and in various other factors. So don't be surprised if you have to try a few things to get it right. Boom, and there we go. And so now it looks like I just took a pen back and forth really quickly to fill that area in. And those are a couple quick ways to sort of play with. Actually, I want to turn the stroke off. I had it set to white. That's going to be better. You might not even seen it, but there we go. I saw it, so I wanted to change it. A couple ways to play ink texture, do different kinds of drawing, experiment with it, have fun. If you have a texture, an effect, or a material you might want me to try, let me know. Comment, maybe put a link down there to a drawing of what maybe you want to make something look like something you have seen, but you just don't know how. I might be able to help you figure it out and post a video. All right, thanks.